Raegan Cooper, and I'm going to talk to you about the Fry Sight Word Inventory Assessment today. Okay, so this is Dr. Edward B. Fry, and Dr. Fry developed a list of 1,000 words and 100 nouns that most commonly occur in print. So the idea here is that when students are able to immediately recognize some sight words, that improves their reading fluency, it improves their confidence, it improves their writing, and it opens up some brain power for students to be able to focus on comprehending the text rather than just decoding words in the text. So Dr. Fry's research produced the following results. There are 25 words that make up approximately 1/3 of all items published. There are 100 words that make up half of all items published. And there are 300 words that make up 65% of all written material. So if kids know 25 words right off the bat, they can read 1/3 of all items published. And if they're able to read 1/3 of a book, that's a bigger head start than not being able to read any of it. So that's why sight words are important. So by the end of grade 1, we want students to master the first 100 sight words in that list of 1,000 words. So we're going to talk about kindergarten first. In kindergarten, they're going to have to learn 50 words. But the reason that I'm kind of mushing them together is because those 50 words they learn in kindergarten are included in the 100 words they learn in first grade. And that's important because we don't know how our students are coming to us. So maybe some of your students came to you from kindergarten only knowing 10 or 20 of their words. So it's important that we spend some time in first grade reviewing those 50 words in addition to adding in some additional words for a total of 100. So here are our 100 words for first grade, and as you can see, they're pretty simple. We have some single syllable words and some two-syllable words in here. One thing I want to mention is, especially at this age, you're going to want to chunk the words. Obviously, you're not going to want to throw 100 words to the kids at once and start teaching them from that. Instead, you probably want to chunk them, and this resource is good for teaching the 100 words because it has some flashcards, but also this resource does a really good job of chunking the words for you. Here they're chunked in sets of 20, and then they do it even smaller than that down here. So your flashcards, the really cool thing about these flashcards is they're numbered and according to the list that we have up here that you can use for your reference as the teacher, and these flashcards fit perfectly in a pocket chart. So if a pocket chart is something that you're going to use in your classroom, this will be perfect for you. The other resource that we have is Quizlet. And that is really nice if you're teaching virtually. This is something that I use as I'm tutoring virtually, and students really love it because they have this learn function, which we'll talk more about later, the traditional flashcards function, and then for added fun, they have a couple of games. The match game down here and the gravity game are big hits with my kids. The live game is a new one. I haven't played with it a whole lot yet, but I'm sure that students will take to that one just as well as the other two games. Okay. By the end of second grade, we want them to have mastered the second set of 100 words. So as we move into second grade, our words are getting a little bit more complex. We still have some easy ones mixed in, but they're mainly easy words. I mean, we have 3 little words in here, but we're adding in a couple big words, right? And again, we want to chunk the words to not overwhelm students, and we have those same resources available for the second set of 100 words. We have the printable flashcards. You're going to have that same list included, and they will fit into the pocket chart. One cool thing I want to mention is that here, these flashcards they're different colors. So our first set of 100 words, they were red. Now they're green on the second set. On the third set, they're orange. So that's just nice because if you want to keep, more than just the first or second set in your classroom, say you're teaching the second grade, and your students are expected to learn the second set, you might want to also include the first set. That way you can review if you needed to. So having the color distinction will help you immediately at first glance know, okay, those are the second set. Okay, that's the first set. Just kind of help you keep organized. And again, you have the Quizlet option. So by the end of third grade, students should master the first 100 sight words. And as time goes on, you'll notice that they get to be a little bit more complex at each grade level. Again, you want to make sure that you're chunking the words for the kids. You have those same 2 resources, your printable flashcards and your Quizlet, and then that printable flashcards PDF does include a word list and a checklist that we'll talk about later. All right, so for grades 4 and 5, that's where things start to change a little bit, okay? At this point, people start to freak out because by the end of 5th grade, we want them to know all 1,000 words. So that's 700 words that they're going to have to learn between grades 4 and 5. And I know that seems like a lot of words to learn in only 2 years, but you can do it. They're not all super hard words, and students at this age, they really start to grasp it a lot faster. So here are words for the 4th grade. As you can see, they're getting a little bit more complex, but we do still have some easy words mixed in. You're still going to want to chunk. It's not that you want to make bigger chunks. I mean, depending on your class, you might, but more so we're thinking that we're going to move through the chunks faster rather than including bigger chunks and spending longer time on them. Same resources that we've always had, but at this level, the Quizlet function or the Quizlet resource becomes a little bit more applicable because you have this learn feature. And what's really cool about this learn feature is it will organize the words your students are familiar with and that they just need to look at a few more times, words that they know well and that they don't really need to review anymore, and then words they haven't seen yet. So that kind of is a really nice time saver because it avoids you reviewing the same words that students know over and over again. So that's something nice about Quizlet. Here are our 5th set of 100 words. And as you can see, we're still getting a little bit more complex, but again, we still have some easy words mixed in there like ran, 6, ago, am. The 5th set of 100 words. These are just the resources for the 5th set of 100 words, sorry. The 6th set of 100 words, here we're getting a little bit more complex. Don't forget to chunk for your students. The same resources are available. Again, you're really going to want to use Quizlet and lean on Quizlet a lot at this age if you can and if you're comfortable with that. Here's our 7th set of 100 words. Here's our same resources. We have flashcards available still, and we have the Quizlet. Our 8th set of 100 words. Our resources again. The 9th set. The same resources are available. And the 10th set. Oh, we're almost done. So as you can see, we're still following that same pattern, getting a little bit more complex, but still including some easy level words as to not overwhelm students. Same resources available, the flashcards, the word list, and the Quizlet. Okay, so when it comes to assessments for the Fry Sight Word Inventory, you want to make sure that you are conducting these assessments in a student-teacher conference one-on-one. And that's because if you try and do this in a group setting, it's going to be really hard to pinpoint which students know what, right? Because if you can, as you're, checking off what words you're hearing, it's going to be hard to isolate the sound of which student is saying the word first and which student is repeating what their neighbor is saying. So as you're doing these assessments, you're going to have a checklist. And as the student reads from the page, you're going to check off what they were able to recognize and what they still need to review. So what we consider being able to immediately recognize is 3 to 5 seconds. If it takes the student longer than 3 to 5 seconds to recognize the word, they're not able to do it immediately and they need to keep looking at that word. So this assessment, this checklist is a nice one because it's free and it does have a nice little place for you to make your check. But the reason I don't like this one is because you're going to need a new checklist for every assessment that you conduct, and that's going to make it kind of hard to look and see at first glance how students are improving over time. I like this one from Teachers Pay Teachers a little bit better because it enables you to do three assessments on one page, so you're able to kind of track student progress a little bit better. And it includes the student copy, which you can laminate and use over and over again. And so students just read down the list, and as they're reading, you're checking what they know and what they don't. At the end, you can mark how many they got correct, what percentage they got correct. And then this is really cool because it asks you to use a timer, because over here on this student reflection sheet, you're gonna put how long their time was. And obviously it's not about if they were able to recognize it within 3 seconds. It's about how fast could they go. It's something students really get excited about when they're able to go fast, and they can make their goal for next time to go a little bit faster and get more correct. But something that you might have to manage is making sure that they're not going so fast that they're messing up, of course. And then they have this kind of thing they can color in. So if they got 80% correct, they can color up to the 80% mark and put the date, and then they can see how they're doing because they're making themselves a little graph. And then one more thing that I want to mention to you about this resource before we finish up here is this resource is really cool because it includes a sheet that allows you to look at your entire class and their progress at once. So basically, after you do your student-teacher conferences and assessments that day, you can, at the end of the day, come in and put your student's name down, and then you can mark how many they got correct. And then that's something that would be really nice to have with you, maybe during parent-teacher conferences. That way you can just immediately look at your sheet and see exactly what percentage their student was able to do it, and then their time or pace. If you don't have a timer on you, what you can do is you can just say they were able to do it at a pretty slow pace, which about 5 seconds, a medium pace, about 3 seconds, or if it's a slow pace, or fast pace even, or I'm sorry, a fast pace even shorter than that. So that's just a really cool resource I wanted to mention to you guys. It's available on Teachers Pay Teachers for $5, and the seller is Reading Resources and More. So if you want a link for that, go ahead and let me know. I included all that in the PowerPoint because I thought it might be a really nice resource for everybody to have when they start teaching, depending on what grade level they teach. So thank you all for listening. I hope you learned something, and good luck teaching your sight words to your future students. I hope you all have a great day.